Ever heard of the Great Sheffield Flood? Probably not, and that's the problem. On March 11, 1864, a massive dam called the Dale Dyke burst just hours after being filled for the first time. Within minutes, 700 million gallons of water surged down the Loxley Valley, obliterating everything in its path. Entire families were swept away in their sleep. It was one of the deadliest disasters in Victorian Britain, yet it's barely mentioned in history books. The flood struck at night, catching thousands off guard. The water travelled over 8 miles in just 30 minutes, flattening mills, homes and bridges. Over 240 people died, including entire families. Bodies were found miles downstream. Survivors described hearing a low rumble before a wall of water hit. The destruction was so complete that some areas were unrecognisable by morning. Yet, despite the scale, the disaster never received the national attention it deserved. So, who was responsible? The Sheffield Waterworks Company built the dam, and it failed due to poor design and rushed construction. An inquest found serious engineering flaws, but no one was ever criminally charged. The company paid compensation, but many victims received little or nothing. The disaster exposed the dangers of unregulated industrial expansion, yet it was quietly swept under the rug. Sheffield rebuilt, but the scars, both physical and emotional, ran deep for decades. Why is this disaster so forgotten? Unlike the Titanic or the Great Fire of London, the Sheffield Flood lacked a dramatic narrative or royal connection. It was a working-class tragedy in an industrial city, and the victims were mostly poor labourers. National newspapers gave it brief coverage, then moved on. Over time, the story faded from public memory. Even in Sheffield, it wasn't widely taught in schools until recent years. It's a silence that speaks volumes. Today, the Great Sheffield Flood is finally getting some recognition. Local historians and community groups have worked to preserve its memory through books, exhibitions and memorials. The rebuilt dam still stands, now safe and monitored, but the flood remains a cautionary tale about the cost of cutting corners and ignoring safety. It's a reminder that even the most devastating events can be forgotten, unless we choose to remember. And now, you know the story they never told you.